NFL fans, New York Giants fans, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, look, we gonna see what John Mara and Joe Schoen got to say about this season. That the Giants make the right decision. That John Mara and Steve Tisch make the right decision in keeping Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. We're going to see what John Mara going to say. We're going to see what Joe Schoen got to say about the people he picked, how he believed the progress of the team is going to go. This is a long stream, long recording. So, look, we're going to look at it. We're going to review it, look at John Mara, see what he's going to say, see what Joe Schoen's going to say. I'm going to upload a video on Brian Daboll later, seeing his season progress and how he think the team went and how he think his future is going to be. You know, he's going to say it's up in the hands of the owner, but we know the owner, gave him that vote of confidence anyway. But we're going to see what Brian Daboll going to say, but that's another video. But we're going to see what John Mara and Joe Schoen going to say. So let's get into it.
Hey, Mike! I'm tired of your presence. Dismiss.
But first and foremost, I go by the name Ayo Mike from High and Low Takes. Let's go.
Statement that we issued this morning. I met with Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll Friday afternoon for several hours, after which had a conversation with Steve Tisch, and we spoke some more over the weekend, and just came to the decision that staying with both of them is the best course of action for us right now. I think in Brian's case, he was the coach of the year 2 years ago. That didn't disappear all of a sudden. I still believe he can do that again.
I believe that too as well. I believe Brian Daboll, he did not disappear as just being the coach of the year, man. That's what happened when you're trying to fix something that's already broken. Let Daniel Jones go. We did that, and that's on Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. I feel like if Brian Daboll was a little bit more forthcoming with Joe Schoen, I don't know. I don't know their relationship. He probably was forthcoming. He probably wasn't. But Joe Schoen, that falls on him. Letting go of Xavier McKinney, letting him walk, letting Saquon walk, not getting anything in return. Saquon is in our division, going crazy in the playoffs. MVP race as a running back. Xavier McKinney is an all-time pro. Like, Joe Schoen got a lot of mistakes, but he had a good draft class. So, let's see.
Yeah. And in Joe's case, I thought we had an outstanding draft class this year. I thought we had a really good free agency period, and I really like the staff that he's put together and built. And I think that they're the right two guys to lead us going forward. I understand, believe me, that that's not going to be the most popular decision in Giant land. But
He right. Some fans, I want to know how y'all think. Like, do you think we should have let go of Brian Daboll or Joe Schoen? He said it's not the most popular decision. He's not. At first, I was like, man, I don't care what they do, but I think Brian Daboll is the right coach, man. Like, just seeing how Drew Lock played, not the last game, but that game before last game where he went off or whatever. I just believe the right quarterback of Brian Daboll would do some damage, and like I said, we know Daniel Jones is not the right quarterback. Like I've been saying, like all the Giants fans that was defending Daniel Jones, look, we still horrible. Daniel Jones ain't the only problem. We know that. He was the main problem, but he wasn't the only problem. But now you making a quarterback change in the middle of the season, it's going to be some turmoil there. It's going to be some inconsistency because it was already there before. It's just going to get worse. So you need to hit reset on this ship, but I don't think we need to hit reset. We need to hit reset with the quarterback, offensive line, secondary. That's the main pieces we need, and a little bit of linebackers too as well. D-line, that's debatable. I think our D-line is pretty good, average to good. I wouldn't say great. When you look at Philadelphia Eagles, man, they got Jordan over there. They got Jalen. Imagine if they would have kept who they sent to the Jets. I forget his name. Imagine if they would have kept him too, man. They would have been unstoppable. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I bring that up to say, like, we got Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau need to play better, man. I seen some plays this season when he got put on his back. I'm hoping that he improves. He gets stronger. Being able to, do different. Like I think, it's hard with the defensive line because you want the defensive line to play well, but the secondary don't hold them long, so D-line really can't do no damage. But let's get back to this. I don't want to keep interrupting.
We believe it's the right decision for us going forward. So with that, I thought I'd come out and face the music and listen to your questions.
John, what is your message to Giants fans who are very frustrated right now?
Nobody's more frustrated and upset than I am. I appreciate the fact that they have come in here with us. I get your frustration. I feel your pain. But I still believe this is the right decision for us going forward.
I know you said, John, that Brian's coach of the year great draft class, but at the end of the day, you guys won 3 games. So how does that all
I'm
connect?
aware of how many games
Yeah.
we've won, and obviously the results are not even close to what we want them to be, and they're going to have to get better if we're going to move on to year 4.
John, after the season last year, you always say, I need to see progress, I need to see the arrow pointing up, I need to see improvement. What signs are there with a 3-win team that any of that has taken place?
I mean, certainly the signs were not based on our record. However, in Joe's case, I think the draft class that we had was really productive. I think all 6 of those guys are going to help us a great deal. I thought the free agency brought in, including Brian Burns, were really a big plus. And I think the staff that he's assembled around him and the process that we go through now, the information that we have in making personnel decisions is better than I've ever seen it before. And in Brian Daboll's case, listen, I'm at practice all the time. I go to the team meetings. I watch the players. I watch how they react. I still think he's the right guy to lead us. If I'm sitting here a year from now, you're asking me these questions, I'll take the heat. But at the end of the day, we've got to make a decision, and we've made one.
John, is this really a 2-year commitment to them? Because I think back to when you had Daniel Jones and you said, we've done everything to screw him up, firing the coach after a rookie quarterback. If you're going to draft a rookie quarterback and then change the head coach and GM after that, is this really a 2-year commitment to them?
I understand the question, but I'm not going to put any kind of time limit on it, but I certainly understand where you're going with that.
John, you do need a quarterback, so how important is that decision going to be to keeping them here and seeing what they can do? That's obviously the number one issue for us going into this offseason, is to find our quarterback of the future. Whether that be via the draft or acquiring a veteran is going to be up to them to decide ultimately.
John, you talked about the process being good, the coach.
I like how he left that open. I think Joe Schoen really is hell bent on getting a quarterback in the draft. But I think the thing is like, I'm going to let Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll handle that, because I can't fire myself. I can't fire myself. I'm going to have to let them go if they make the wrong decision and it turns out to be turmoil. So Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, I don't know what they're going to do in this draft, but them sitting at number 3 and knowing that the Raiders, even though they let go of Antonio Pierce, it's a strong possibility that they can move up in the draft and try to get a quarterback. And then Cleveland, Deshaun Watson just ruptured his Achilles again. It's like they might be looking at a quarterback now. It's like, it's so crazy right now, and it's really only 2 quarterbacks that's really legit: Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. So that's really what it comes down to. And I just wish the Giants had the number 1 pick. You had to win it. I know you don't teach to lose, but come on now, rest the starters, put the backups in, let them play, and let's let the team who did we beat? I forget who we beat. Just let them play. I'm thinking it was Indianapolis. Let the coach just play against the backups. That's what you should have did. Coach up the second string guys, coach up the bench guys. You could have keep Malik Neighbors in. Drew Lock. I don't know. Put the backup offensive line in. I don't know, because you can't tell them to lose. I get it why Brian Daboll did that, but you hurt the team. But I don't know. That's a tough conversation. It's really a debatable topic, not even amongst Giants fans, but NFL fans. That's what sucks about the NFL. It's like the worst team get the best pick, opposed to the NBA. It's a lottery.
Coach, having it in there, the free agency being in their process, all this stuff. How do you justify, how did you get to 3-14 then?
Because we stunk this year. Okay, the results on the field were not what we wanted them to be. There were a number of factors that went into that. A lot of that has already been discussed with the coach and with Joe, and will continue to be discussed. And but I liked what I heard from them on Friday afternoon. I like what their plan is going forward, and we're going to stay with it.
What did they tell you? People have trouble separating the two.
I understand that. Believe me, I understand that. It's a bottom line business. You're judged on what your record is, and our record is pretty lousy right now. And I get that, and I take responsibility for that. But again, when you make these changes, and God knows we've made them in the past and been impatient in the past, and when you do that, you feel like you take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And I just didn't want to fall into that cycle again. I wanted to give people a chance to build this thing the right way and to get us to where we need to be.
Why do you believe you're
John,
building it the right way?
One at a time, one at a time.
Why do you believe you're building it the right way when it's gone from 9-7-1, 6-11, 3-14?
I certainly can't justify it based on the records, but again, based on my observation of how they work together, of how the players respond to them, and how Joe is going about building.
I know people be saying John Mara sell the team, man, but you can tell John Mara literally cares. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is not out here just saying baloney. You know what I'm saying? And even though the Saquon Barkley thing happened, and we know the Saquon Barkley thing happened, Saquon Barkley still has the utmost respect for John Mara. You know what I'm saying? He was disappointed in the contract situation, but it's better that, you know, as a Giants fan, it's better that Saquon is over there than over here now, you know, not as a Giants fan, but as an NFL fan, because he's being appreciated, you know what I'm saying, for where he's at. And they building the right team around him, and they believe in him. John Mara really didn't want to let Saquon Barkley go, even though he was the final decision maker on it. But he's kind of letting Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll have their way, you know, so he don't want to be controlling no football operations. He just want to oversee it and just watch it, know what you're doing, what's your plan, where you're going, you know. But I can tell John Mara care, you know what I'm saying? He's not defending anything. He said I certainly can't justify it based on the record. 9-7-1, 6-11, now 3-13 or something like that, 3-14. You know, so it's like there is no way to justify this. You know, John Mara, he literally cares, man. So I don't think when people say, "Oh, sell the team," first of all, these guys not selling no team. This team been in their family for years. That's ridiculous. Only way NFL members sell teams, NFL owners and NBA owners, and any sports team owners, if it's some type of legal thing happen, like what happened with Donald Sterling or something like that, or the Washington Redskins, now Commanders, you know, something happens like that. But he had a lot of allegations going on with inside the team. It wasn't the Redskins' name that he had the reason why he sold it. It was because of the allegations. But let's get back to it.
The roster going forward, it's my instinct and my strong belief that we are going to go in the right direction. It's hard for me to say we're going in the right direction right now because we've been going backwards, and nobody feels that any more than I do. Okay, I hate having to go through this process. I hate having to answer these questions, but at the end of the day, you got to take a calm, rational look at things. And we did that, and this is the decision that we came up with.
What did they share with you Friday that gives you the confidence?
I'm not going to go into all the details.
But fans are going to want to hear something.
I understand that. And obviously the quarterback is the big issue, and you know, maybe he makes some other changes in the way he operates going forward. I've talked to him about, do you really believe that it's in our best interest for you to continue calling the plays? I said, I'm not going to demand that you do one thing or the other, but are better letting somebody else call the plays, and that's a discussion that we're going to continue to have. There are issues like that we have to have some further discussion about, but at the end of the day, he's got to make the decision on whether he does that, on whether he wants to make replacements in the staff. That's got to be his decision at the end of the day.
John,
What
did
are
these
some of
come
the
back?
other
Did these guys come back on a hot seat?
I'll come back to you in a second.
Did these guys come back on a hot seat now?
You guys are going to have him number one on the hot seat going forward, so no matter how I answer that question,
In your mind.
we're going to have to see.
He's very honest, man. How can you not like John Mara? Now, as far as like him being like a publicist or whatever, like he's not being very PC with his answers. He's being honest. This is what I want. This is what I want Brian Daboll to be like sometimes. Be honest in how you feel and what you think. And Joe Schoen the same way. Joe Schoen a little bit more honest than Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll is like so Belichick. It's don't look good. But John Mara, he's challenging them. And of course they're going to be on the hot seat next season. I think if they get a rookie QB and we come out to be 9-7 again or 8-8 and we got a tough schedule next season. I don't know if anybody's seen it. I'll bring it up later. We got a tough schedule next season. But the thing about it is Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen, they're going to be on the hot seat next year if we get some type of. Now, if they get a free agent quarterback and we turn out to be bad or average again, they're gone. You have to get a rookie. You have to get Shador. You have to get Cam Moore. You have to get a quarterback that we're going to be able to immediately compete. We look at the quarterbacks in the NFC East. Jaden Daniels, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. Say what you want about Dak. Say what you want about Jalen Hurts. Say what you want about Jaden Daniels. They all going to the playoffs. And they all win a playoff game except for Jaden. He plays, I'm recording this as of Saturday, so he plays today. So they all been to the playoffs. We know Daniel Jones been to the playoffs, but Jaden's going as a rookie. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to have to be in a better mood this time next year than I am right now.
You heard that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were next.
Beyond quarterback and play calling, what are some of those other issues that you see moving forward?
I mean, quite frankly, I didn't think our defense played very well this year at all. I know that when you have an offense that performs like that, you're putting more pressure on your defense, but we need to make improvements there. I'm tired of watching teams go up and down the field.
Shane Steichen is not the right guy for the job. I know we all seen it on Hard Knocks when he was bringing in Shane Steichen, and Brian Daboll was so happy because it was like third down. Red zone efficiency. That was like number 3 in the league or number 1 in the league with Tennessee Titans. But I don't understand what was going on in Brian Daboll's brain. When Mike Vrabel was there, Mike Vrabel called the plays, not Shane Steichen. You taking a chance on your job playing like this, man. Get somebody that's why you needed Wink, and that's why you needed Wink to stay there. Wink was motivated. He had them boys gunning and blitzing. It's like everybody know when a Wink they know the defense by Wink name. Brian Daboll, man, you got to wake up.
So I think that has to be addressed. I think, we
let go of Shane. Don't ruin your job. Let him go.
Number one thing certainly is the quarterback.
John, what gives you
how
confidence
long-
this roster is better than it was 3 years ago when these two took over this team?
I'm not sure I am all that confident that it's that.
And Shane Steichen he don't seem like he's enjoyable to play with either, man. He just say guys got to do their jobs. When he do the press conferences, like he don't make you want to run through a brick wall, man. I want a Dan Campbell type guy. Like that's what Wink was, at least as a defensive coordinator. We know Dan Campbell's a head coach, but the guys that make you feel passion. When I'm looking at Shane Steichen talk or whatever, he don't have that passion, man. You got a guy like Dexter Lawrence. You got a guy like Brian Burns. You got a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau, man. You need the right guys training them guys up, man, and showing them how they should be attacking the quarterback, attacking the offensive line for that matter. And Shane Steichen's not the right guy. Need to let him go.
That much better. I think, though, with the draft class that we just had, again, it's very unusual. You have 6 draftees, all of whom you think are going to help us going forward. I thought that was a huge step. And the free agents that we picked up between Runyon and bringing Brian Burns in here, I think those are really going to help us going forward. I think once you solve the quarterback issue, I think a lot of these other things will improve as well.
I guess when a fan hears that, though, that you're not confident the roster is better 3 years after we've been in charge, I mean,
How can I say that it's better if we win 3 games? We need to win more games for us to be able to prove that point. But there's just a better feeling in the building now that we've got the right pieces in place. We have a lot of holes to fill, and that's what this offseason is going to be about.
How long will it take to improve the product, John?
It better not take too long, Bruce, because I've just about run out of patience.
John,
Can't take too long because I just about run out of patience. John Mara said, it better not take too long because I just about run out of patience. He's done. He's through. If you mess with him one more time, you're through. So we're going to see what's going to happen this season. John Mara look like he's sick of it. He's done with it. It is what it is. Look, John Mara, he got to make some decisions. Him and Steve Tisch next season. But Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, their job depends not on the veteran QB because you're not ready to compete. So you go out and get a veteran quarterback when you're ready to compete right now. We're not ready to compete right now. We need to get a rookie quarterback. So you need to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Look, I know some people like Cam Ward. Some people like Shedeur Sanders. Look, none of that really don't matter right now. It's not a debate about who was better and who would fit. It's a matter of their job security and the high potential of being better than what you were, some progress. Because we regress, so we need progress. And the only way their jobs stay safe if we come out average next year if they have a rookie QB. If we come out average next year and we have a veteran QB like Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, it's not going to look good for the Giants. They're getting fired. We starting this whole thing all over again. And next thing you know, Malik Neighbors, his contract year come up 3 years from now, he want to get traded. Tyrone Tracy Jr. probably want to get traded. And you can't franchise tag all the young guys. I think you only have 2. So you're going to have to let somebody walk. So They got to do something. They got to do something.
Be a good soundbite for you tonight. Huh?
Is the money remaining on their contracts a factor? There was a report
Absolutely
that you
not.
had a problem with.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's never been a factor in any coaching decision that we've ever made here.
John, you talking about?
Yeah, the money on their contract does not matter. Like, absolutely not. Look, people don't understand. These owners don't care about the money that they look at the building that John Mara's in. That's a $10 million plus practice facility. Just a practice facility. Just a practice facility. Probably 20 million plus that he's just in. So it's like, come on now, like that don't even matter. That literally does not matter at all. Like, they talking about money. Is it that he's taking the money of the contracts for them, like the coaches and the GM? No, people fire all the time. You see what happened with what's his name, Raiders owner Davis, Mark Davis. Like, it don't matter. Bye. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter.
Well, when the quarterback position is, you had the number 1 pick 2 weeks ago, and then you win the Colts game, and then it seemed like you didn't go all out yesterday. Like, why not have just tanked if you knew they were coming back?
If I had thought that we were tanking either one of those games, I would have fired everybody. We are never going to do that in this organization as long as I'm standing on this side of the grass.
John, you've said John.
I like that. I like that. You know what I'm saying? But I know we have a problem with it as Giants fans. Like, we want to lose as fans, but man, these guys out here playing for their livelihood, man. Like, you got to think about it. Like, you really got to take into consideration. Like, these guys out here playing with it for their families. Some of these guys probably won't be Giants next year, but they're playing for another team that they can be on the team next year, a backup or a starter. And you don't never go out to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, we think about it. We only look at this a lot of times through a microscope. You know what I'm saying? Or through a telescope where we're only one eye focused, you know, instead of just looking at it from a larger aspect. And I really believe John Mara is right about what he's saying, is that you don't want to go out and tank. As much as I wanted to, the number 1 pick, I just wish every other team at the bottom was playing a little better. I'm glad that New England won, you know, but, you know, we still got the number 3 pick. And Cleveland need a quarterback. So our only prayer really is for Tennessee, when they get their new GM and the coach, he works with Will Levis a little bit, for them to keep Will Levis. But the thing about it though is that, yeah, I don't think they'll trade out of that pick, because I think they're going to go after Travis Hunter. I don't think anybody's trading out the top 3, because Travis Hunter is a top 5 pick. You know, you also got the Penn State DN, Baby Micah Parsons. That's what I call him. You know, so it's a lot of players. I don't think anybody's trading unless people's giving the sun, moon, and stars, which Vegas might do. Tom Brady and Mark Davis might do, you know, but I'm just hoping, you know, I hope the Raiders might go for J.J. McCarthy. That's what I'm hoping.
We didn't get to talk to you after the Plains. How much did that bother you? And
Listen, I didn't need planes flying over me to tell me how upset the fans are. I hear from them every day.
That's funny. See, man, he got a sense of humor, man. How can you not like John, man, besides his hiring choices? But it looked like the right hiring choice a couple years ago.
So that really did not have much of an effect. I get how upset they are. I try to respond to them. Nobody was more upset than I am about how we performed in recent years. And, you know, I have to stand up here and take the heat for that.
The big failure of this regime was the Daniel Jones contract. I think the question is, how much of a hand did ownership have in that deal? Are you absolving them of that mistake?
No. Listen, we made a decision at the end of the 22 season based on how Daniel had played that we were going to sign him to that contract. I approved that, and we live with the results.
John, when you say you believe in Joe and Dave's after speaking with them on Friday, after watching them, but you also do not want a starting over process, you've been through this process enough, is it more belief in them than the pain of having to start over, or is it not wanting to start over?
I think it's a combination of things. It's a belief in them, number one, but number two, I think when you start over, you really set yourselves back. And when you have a belief in the two individuals that are leading the organization, you have to have the patience.
All right, man. So that's pretty much it. You know, he believes in him. I'm gonna check out this Joe Schoen one real quick. Joe Schoen. Go back. I'm tripping. I'm go to the Giants page. Let's check out Joe Schoen really quick. Check out Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen, you got to answer for yourself. Answer for your crimes. Answer for your sins.
All right, y'all. Thanks for coming out. Obviously, at 3 wins, not good enough.
My bad, people. I got to get this right. Let me bring this up.
But that's what we'll spend the next 4 months doing between the draft and free agency. Upgrading the roster the best we can. Looking at the organization top to bottom, trying to figure out what's best moving forward, throughout the entire football operation. So
that man came up there stern. Joe Schoen came up stern. I'm gonna check out, like I said, I'm gonna do Brian Daboll. I might do it in the same video. I don't know. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't want to bore nobody to death. But Joe Schoen, like, he came up there about business. He's ready. He's stern. He had that big old spanking earlier about John Mara and Steve Tisch. Him and Brian Daboll had that spanking. Hard Knocks embarrassed them. Saquon Barkley embarrassed them. Everybody embarrassed them. We the laughing stock. Joe Schoen looks like a clown. Here we are. New York Giants, 2024-2025. The laughing stock of the NFL. New York Giants fans, we are the new Cleveland Browns. But maybe not. The Cleveland Browns are still the Cleveland Browns as we see. So let's just get on to it. Let's just see what Joe Schoen got to say. Here we are.
With that being said, I'll open up for questions.
Joe, who does this fall on in your mind in terms of who performed this season?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, myself. I mean, we're not good enough. We didn't play well enough. I've got to do a better job assembling a roster, with more talent, so we can go out and compete at a higher level. So I look inward, first and foremost.
I know you thought otherwise when we spoke to you last time about whether you're going to come back. That you were pretty certain you would be back. And did that ever waver? And what did you think when you did hear the news ultimately today?
No, that never.
I don't know if you got, like Brian said, he spoke to John specifically and he was told he was coming back today.
Yeah, no, it never wavered. Never wavered from last time we were here from my feelings there.
Joe, how much of your future success is obviously tied to bringing in a quarterback here in this offseason?
Yeah, it's the most important position in football. And, you look at the roster right now, Tommy's the only quarterback on the roster. So that's definitely, important to any team in the NFL's success. So that's something we'll definitely be looking at.
Where are you going to be looking at? What skills, what kind of characteristics do you?
Yeah, I don't want to get into specifics on that, but we've done a lot of work on, the college guys. John mentioned earlier that, we'll look at free agency. We can also look throughout the draft, potential trade opportunities. So, we'll look at any avenue we can, to upgrade the position. And, we've talked before, in these situations, it's, the film is one part of the equation. And then, from a draft standpoint, you really got to get around these kids. And I think it's important, part of our process that we try to get around these kids every year. So when, they are free agents or a trade opportunity,
that's the thing too as well. Like you already off on the wrong foot, Well, I want to say that he's going to protect the bases. He's going to protect the bottom line. He cannot reveal a plan. How much as the media wants a plan, we want a plan. The New York Giants fans, we all want answers. What are you going to do at the quarterback? You're going to draft. You're going to free agency. And John Mara just said earlier. He said, "I'm going to let them handle that." Joe Schoen said the same thing. Like he said, "Look, I can't give you the plan." If he gives the plan, that gives the other teams in the NFL a way to scheme around it to stop the Giants from getting either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. And we don't want that.
Presents itself, you've spent an ample amount of time with these guys on who they are as people and their ability to learn and process information. So,
do you have any regrets about not adding a quarterback from the draft last year?
No, I'm happy with Malik, where he was, and, the draft class in general. I think I know those guys played well. They did. They played really well. I think 5 out of 6 of those guys played over 50% of the snaps, and Darius there towards the end was up around 40%, in terms of play.
You should have got Michael Penix Jr. That's what you should have did. At least trade the pick, go back one, get Michael Penix Jr. and you can have Malik Neighbors, bro. Like you that's what you should have did, Joe Schoen. You should have did that. Or JJ McCarthy. Jimmy McCarthy is, he got injured, so we don't know what that would have been like. You couldn't get Drake May. Of course, they went before then. No Caleb Williams. No Jaden Daniels. He wasn't going to be able to get them. Because we was just good enough to not be good. We was just good enough to not be good, and we was not good enough just to be good. That's the story of the New York Giants. We all the way at the number 1, but then we all the way at the number 3. Then we all the way at the number 4. I mean, this is who we are. I can't say, like I said, I can't say that the New York Giants are the new Cleveland Browns, because the Cleveland Browns are still the Cleveland Browns as we see. But the thing with Joe Schoen is you should have got Malik Neighbors, and you should have got Michael Penix Jr. He sent that letter out saying he got the heart of a lion. I know we all get, we say things and things of that nature like, oh my God, like just big quotes, and we look at players, they give long speeches, and we laugh at it and stuff like that. But, and coaches too as well. But man, you got to believe words that people are saying. Look at Dan Campbell. Look how fiery his speeches is, and look what he got people going. Look at Michael Penix Jr., the way he's talking, the way he's speaking, and then at the same time, the way he's playing, most importantly. It's the word is matching with the performance. He's a little inaccurate at times, but that's because he's rusty. He ain't been playing like everybody else. But then he don't got like work with the first team as much as Kirk Cousins did. But that's the thing. Come on now, we got to get it together, man. Get it together now.
So, I'm happy with the core foundation that we were able to acquire through last year's draft, and I think those guys will be key pieces moving forward.
Joe, on a week-to-week basis, late in the season, were you aware of where your draft status was?
Yes.
1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So when you got to 1, it's not getting to 1, you're losing to get to 1, obviously. Was there any thought in the last couple of games that, we're at 1 here, we need to try to win, but 1 looks pretty good if we need a quarterback?
Yeah, you're always going to go out and try to win. I know John addressed that earlier. As long as, the New York Giants and, the Mara and Tisch family are on board, like we're going to go out and try to win the games. And, that's just, that's what we believe in.
Joe, there's a thought.
You play to win the game. Ain't that what Herm Edwards said? You play to win the game no matter what.
That when a regime is entering like a must-win kind of year where you just were told you're coming back, that a GM and a coach will act out of self-preservation. Like, I got to spend a lot of money, have the best possible team, trade future draft picks to get the. How will you balance that versus that might not be the long-term interest of the Giants of spending spree in free agency and trading future draft capital?
Yeah, I understand the question. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for the Mara family and the Tisch family, and I would never do that. I understand we're gonna build this thing the right way, and I'm not gonna do a Hail Mary for self-preservation or anything like that. We have a plan in place that we believe in, and we're gonna stick with that. And again, I've got a tremendous amount of respect for ownership and what they believe in, and we have really good communication with them, and they understand where we are and where we're trying to go, and there will be no Hail Marys.
You heard it all.
I appreciate that, being honest. Don't go out and get, let's just say Michael Thomas. I think Michael Thomas retired, but let's just say Michael Thomas was like, he was back. You don't go out and spend $60 million for a wide receiver and he's extremely injury prone and got a lot of issues going on. I think that's a good example. You don't go overpay for Kirk Cousins and we be the next team to get hoodwinked by Kirk Cousins and paying him $90 million. Like, you don't go out and make a Hail Mary attempt just for self-preservation to save your job. Like, that's stupid. And Mara will shoot that down anyway. That's ridiculous. That's why I really believe they're not going after Justin Fields. See, Justin Fields is the known. I think the thing is you're gonna have to go after the unknown to get the unknown. You're going after the known. You know what your team is going to be. We get Justin Fields. I'm sorry, I just don't think Justin Fields is. I think he got potential. Yeah, I think he got potential, but I don't think he's going to be. I don't know. I don't believe in Justin Fields. I think they should have got Russell Wilson. He would have been a stopgap quarterback. We could have been able to build correctly. I think they should have got a new defensive coordinator because their D coordinator is bad. I'm trying to look at that time. The defensive coordinator is bad. They should have got a defensive coordinator that know what he's doing, that actually called plays.
Didn't get enough time to fully realize that plan?
No, No.
One year turnaround.
Listen, we're here. We're picking third in the draft. As we built this thing, when Daniel had the ACL a year ago, not knowing how he was going to come back, we also had to be conscious of what may be on the horizon. So, you're kind of working on parallel tracks. So we're sitting here with $40+ million in cap space and over 100 the following year. So some teams are in this situation where maybe they need a quarterback and, they don't have the financial pieces or the draft resources. So we're in good shape from that standpoint in terms of improving, the roster via free agency, trades, or, through the draft. And I've got a lot of confidence in, the people in the building, the process, and, I've got a lot of faith in the plan that we have in place moving forward.
Joe, are you under the belief that you need to make the playoffs next year?
No. Again, we got to continue to build it the right way, and if we have a really good roster and, you get close, and again, I think John said it to you guys earlier, progress.
And I think that's really what it come down to. I'm gonna stop it right there. That's all I got right now. But look, that's what the Giants is. That's what the Giants are. They need a quarterback. If you go after Shedeur Sanders or you go after Cam Ward, I think there's a guarantee that they will be back here the following year. But if you go after one of these other quarterbacks, even J.J. McCarthy, I'm going to throw him in there too. That's J.J. McCarthy is like a 50-50. If they go after J.J. McCarthy, it's a possibility they could be back the following year. But I'm telling you, if you go after Justin Fields, or if you go after Kirk Cousins, somebody of that stature, somebody of that nature, if you go after one of them, I guarantee they're going to be fired the following year because those guys just aren't going to produce. I really don't believe in them. I just don't think they're, what we need at the quarterback position. You need somebody that you're going to have a tenure with. J.J. McCarthy may be an option, but he's injury prone. You should have went after Michael Penix Jr. after you got Malik Neighbors, trade the pick, whatever. You didn't do that. And then at the same time, like I said, I say that because we wasn't going to get Jaden, we wasn't going to get Caleb, and we wasn't going to get Drake May. Those guys were gone. They won't happen. All three of those teams, they were smart enough to know to not trust the veteran quarterback market or even go after Justin Fields. They were smart enough to know they need a rookie. And you have rookie QBs in that class. And the Giants were like, okay, we got Daniel Jones. And now look, he's over there in Minnesota. Now, I don't want Daniel Jones, his juice is getting off and falling on J.J. McCarthy. And then we're going to bring J.J. McCarthy and he's going to be a repeat Daniel Jones. I don't want that to happen. And it's very possible. And I don't want that. So, I mean, it is what it is. So I hope we go after not Caleb Williams. We go after Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. That's who we need at the New York Giants. We need them. And then I say if we get them, and JJ is a 50-50, but if we get them, it's a guarantee that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are going to be back the following year and progress is going to be made. We may lead some categories. I just think Brian Daboll need to let go of Shane Steichen, let go of the defensive coordinator. He is not a leader of men. I don't see him like Wink Martindale. I don't see him being as fiery as somebody like a Dan Campbell. We need somebody that gets the people fired up. Now, we know Dan Campbell's the head coach or whatever, but I'm talking about somebody that's going to inspire guys. We've seen Hard Knocks. We understand it was Shane Steichen's first go-around, as like being like that leader in that room as far as for defense. But when we see him play, he just say, do your job. It's like very bland, very dull. You don't want to, what I'm saying? Like you need somebody that's fired up, that love the guys like Wink did. Like Wink had an attachment to the guys. He had an attachment. Come on now, what we talking about? We need somebody that's fired up, ready to go, that's going to lead the defense in the right way. We need a secondary to hold them long enough so when the D-line is going after the quarterback, the D-line can actually get there. Kayvon Thibodeau can actually get there because Deonte Banks is doing his job. Or Dane Belton is doing his job. And Dane Belton played all right this year, but, Tyler Nubin doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Drew Phillips is doing his thing. We need the secondary to hold so the defensive line can do their thing. We need to go out and get some secondary pieces. I think this draft is filled with good defensive players. And also we need an offensive line. You got Andrew Thomas, he's injury prone. So you're going to have to go after some I don't know, another tackle, possibly a guard. I mean, we got JMS, but we need JMS to really be better next year. And I believe Carmen, our offensive line coach, would get him right. But we need a better strength and conditioning training because I feel like our guys is weak, but that's a story for another day. But look, I go by the name Ayo Mike from High and Low Takes, and I'm out.